Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome to how I think Man City will line up next season. Now, this is going to be a relatively quicker one than the Chelsea one, as there is a hell of a lot less signings. But that is only because I think City don't need that many signings to probably still win the league next season. And I think we all realistically know who that signing is going to be. But quickly first, we're going to look here. We're going to look at the transfer list. And actually, I forgot to put a person on just ignore that, right? Transfer list. The players that I think will leave City next season: Ilkay Gundogan, Gundogan. He's been a good player for City, however, I feel like at 31 he'll probably be leaving next season. John Stones, a centre-back who never really fell into favour really at City. He's been okay there, but I feel like he'll be the one leaving next season. Riyad Mahrez, who in my Chelsea video I think he will go to Chelsea. Even if he doesn't go to Chelsea, I'm pretty sure he will be leaving Man City next season. So there's that. And also Gabriel Jesus, who could realistically go anywhere in the Premier League and be a pretty decent striker for him, but I think he will be leaving Manchester City as well, and he is for a very solid reason. I think he'll be going. Yanga Herrera, Zach Steffen, who made himself look an idiot a couple of games back for City against Liverpool. See you later. Nakul Bustos, Issa Kabore, Loan List, Ko Itakura, Arijanat Muric, I've actually heard of him, Pedro Porro on loan again, Bazunu and Palaversa, Harwood Bellis, Robertson, Lavia, and these guys that don't have faces will all go on the loan list as they were loaned out this season, I assume. Yeah, they're basically getters. And then you get to the actual transfer shortlist. Oh dear. Now, John Stones is probably, I think he will leave either way. I think if he does leave, though, his replacement could be Pau Torres, who I actually brought up in the Chelsea video, is linked with Chelsea. But, as I said in the Chelsea video, if Villarreal can miraculously get themselves back from a 2-0 deficit into the Champions League final, maybe even go on to win the thing, and I mean, even now, getting to the semi-final, I think Pau Torres is going to be a pretty interesting looker for quite a lot of top European clubs next season. So, I think he will be on Manchester City's radar. However, they will have spent quite a bit of money. Obviously not this much money in real life, as he has a release clause which is considerably lower. Nice one, Dortmund, you idiots. On this man, they've already agreed a contract with him. And, I mean, his dad played for City, didn't he? So he's going to go to City. Erling, I mean, I don't know why I'm changing this. I can agree to just anything. Erling Braut, just ignore the managers that I make, right? I can't be asked making the managers what they actually look like. I CBA, right? It's effort. Erling Braut Haaland, the man from Norway. One of the most exciting young strikers in the history of football, will most likely be a Manchester City player. He won't have a release clause. Be a Man City player next season. Now that is what I would call worrying. Just for the whole rest of the league. Like Haaland, Erling Haaland, he will take Gabriel Jesus as number 9. You know for a fact that he will. That side is a side that we could very easily be seeing next season, and it's they're going to win the league, aren't they? They're going to win the league. They've got Alvarez here, who is a young, is he from Argentina, I think? Young Argentine attacker, but I mean, look, get him out of bloody centre forward, alright? Get him out of centre forward. Full on striker, Erling Haaland. They're going to win the league, realistically. Even with this team, I think they would win the league. However, I do believe we're going to go forward a bit. I didn't get to the end of the transfer window in the Chelsea video just because it was half a bloody hour, and the only thing that would have possibly happened afterwards would have been sales of players, and I stated who them players would be. But just also Foden transfer offer, never going to happen, especially to Liverpool. We've got an offer from Inter for Jesus. Inter really liking strikers from the Premier League. That's who. That was the guy that we got the Lukaku offer for in the last video for Chelsea. Porro will probably go out on loan again. To Barcelona is definitely a possibility. Interesting, Pau Torres, which means I can definitely see Arsenal going for another top team's old players. So we're going to accept that from Gundogan, for Gundogan even, and we're just, you know what, sod it. We'll pay the bloody release clause. It's 111 mil, but you know what? I pressed the button by accident. Pau Torres. This one, every time I do one of these videos, I'm going to go for a bit of a wild card that's not overly not the most unrealistic thing in the world. Like, not everyone's going to be getting Mbappe and shit like that. But I'm going to go for someone who's maybe not necessarily, he's more unlikely to join the team than some of the other players. And I think Pau Torres is that one for this Manchester City team. However, again, I could quite easily see, I can quite easily see Pau Torres becoming a Manchester City player. Like, he's got the quality. He's obviously a very decent centre-back if he's in that Villarreal team that are, you know, that are getting that far in the Champions League. He's got to have something about him. And I think as a backup to Diaz and Laporte, I think he's the perfect guy for Manchester City. Especially, I mean, they're not really going to have to worry about goals next season, are they? Like, I don't think goals are going to be a huge worry next season. They were looking for Kane last season. Tottenham missed out on 100 million by making sure Kane stayed, which was an interesting decision considering Kane's 28 and it did literally allow City to get probably the best striker, or at least the second best striker in the world, into their team this season. So cheers for that one, Levy. But they didn't get him in. They've still, despite to Man United, 27 million. That is a very Man United transfer. Some random guy who's 24 for 27 million. That's a United transfer right there. You can tell it'll be terrible as well. We've got an offer for Grealish from if it wasn't from Chelsea, I would have thought about it, but I'm having none of that little bastard in Chelsea, thank you. And then, you know, someone like this, Paris Saint-Germain with an offer for John Stones. Something that I can just see happening. I can see Stones leaving City in this transfer window. And honestly, I might not get to the end of it because I just wanted Stones to go. I mean, I suppose I need an offer for Mahrez, don't I? A loan offer for Zinchenko. I don't think Zinchenko will be going anywhere next season. You know, if you think of it in a very business way, having a Ukrainian player right now is pretty damn ideal. Like, you know, having a Ukrainian player right now, if you use it correctly, yeah, I'm just saying, you could really help yourself out. So I don't think City will be even thinking about letting Zinchenko leave. And obviously, he is a very competent football player, Alexander Zinchenko. So, you know, Arsenal looking for even more scraps from, I can't say that, it's about Mahrez, who I kind of want to go to Chelsea. Never mind, we're just going to pretend that I didn't say that. We're just going to ignore that. But, you know, Mahrez, I think, will definitely be leaving City. I hope he does come to Chelsea. Whether he actually will or not, I'm not sure. He has gone. He's gone to Arsenal. And Zach Steffen. West Ham want both of our bloody goalkeepers. Interesting. Anyway, this is what, though, and I'm not going to go to the end of the transfer window because it would just be a lot of simming for no reason. But I will talk you through what. Here it is, then. What I think will be Manchester City's lineup next season. Is there anyone down here that deserves to be on the bench? No, there is not. So, here we are. Now, this team now does lack a little bit of depth. However, well, no, they have depth, but just don't have quite the amount as they did before, having let Gundogan and Mahrez go. But I think with the acquisitions of Haaland and maybe another centre-back to replace Stones, City will feel as though they're okay in that regard. And I mean, don't get me wrong, they are. Grealish can play in the midfield. Foden can play in the midfield. Alvarez can. Pau Torres could probably sneak in there as a CDM if really necessary. And of course, they will have Fernandinho next season. He did retire in this career mode, however, which isn't ideal. But Fernandinho will be in this side next season. So there's that as well. But let's start, of course, with Ederson. He is the Brazilian keeper. Probably worse than Alisson, realistically, but he's a very competent keeper. He's a good player. He works perfectly for this team as well as he's great with his feet. So no worries there. The duo of Laporte and Diaz hasn't quite been as brilliant as they were hoping, but Diaz has had a great season and Laporte himself is a decent enough centre-back. So that will be fine. João Cancelo really peaked early on in this season. He's been decent since, but nowhere near as good as he was a couple of months ago. Still, though, he will stick in this team next season and probably perform very well. Kyle Walker, probably nearing the end of his time at Manchester City. He's a very pacey wing-back, but other than that, I don't know how much he really offers. He's, again, a decent defender. If you're a winger and you're trying to get past him, you better be quicker than Usain Bolt, because other than that, you're not getting anywhere. Rodri, he's just a nice bloke, isn't he? I don't really know much about his playing style, because I don't watch City overly often, if I'm truthful, but he's a nice bloke. He's a decent CDM. There you go. Kevin De Bruyne, of course, the best midfielder in the world. That's all you have to say. Bernardo Silva has had a very good season this season. He had a pretty good one last one as well, to be fair, and he's starting to get the ratings he finally deserves. Jack Grealish, who's, in contrast, had a bit of a nightmare this season. However, I think with the leaving of Mahrez and, sort of reshuffle with the attack, maybe Grealish will get himself a little bit more game time. Whether he'll actually get back to how he was playing at Aston Villa, I'm not sure, because, the style of play is so much different at City than it is at Villa. Maybe he will, maybe he won't, who knows. Raheem Sterling on the right wing, one of the more underrated players in this team as well. Fantastic winger. Sure, he's prone to a hell of a clanger of a miss. He's very prone to it, actually. But, he's got over 100 league goals. He's a decent winger. And, if you need a cross put in or if you need a little toad to run after someone, Sterling's your man. And then Haaland. Just Haaland. Think about the chances that, say, Sterling or Gabriel Jesus missed this season. This man's scoring all of them. I would back Erling Haaland scoring a hat-trick in his debut, in the same way that he did for Dortmund. I would back Haaland scoring a hat-trick. And of course they've got Foden, Cole Palmer. I was supposed to go the whole bench, wasn't I? Zach Steffen will probably leave. It'll probably be either Bazunu or Muric in there, as just Steffen is nearing older age and he's made himself look a right idiot, so I think he'll probably be moved on. Zinchenko, as we stated, Ukrainian. Nathan Ake, who's been pretty crap at Man City, if we're honest, but has been good recently. He came on, I think it was against Liverpool, and had a great performance, so there's that. Pau Torres, again, unlikely possibly to go to City, I suppose, as they're not hugely linked with him, but City is City, they can do what they want, and if Torres gets Villarreal through any further, he could be hot commodity. Foden, who again is a pretty decent centre mid, still not better than Mount though. Alvarez, who's been hitting it up in the Argentine league, but of course that is the Argentine league, so I think he's Argentine, right? He came from an Argentinian team and he's back on loan there, I'm pretty sure at the moment. I'm sure that's right. And of course he will be playing backup to Haaland, which, you can't really blame City for that. And then of course Cole Palmer as the right winger there. Right winger Cole Palmer. I don't really know anything about him, if I'm honest. I couldn't tell you anything about him. However, I can tell you that I'm going to make an addition to this series, and I'm going to sim in another video. I'm gonna double it. I'm gonna sim to the end of the season, see how this team does, and then play the final game of the season, and just see how it goes. See how OP this team is, and see what they managed to get themselves into. I shall see you then, and I might do one for the Chelsea one, I don't know. Anyway, I'll see you then. Au revoir.